Hi everybody and welcome back to the channel. I hope that everybody is doing well. I know that this is such a busy time of year. The kids are back in school, the seasons are changing, and for those of us that are working in healthcare, it's just a very busy time for work. A lot of respiratory illnesses and symptoms going around. It is that time of year, and I know I can speak for myself. I'm pretty sure that everybody in my Tri-County area has some sort of upper respiratory symptom. And so that's definitely what I've been dealing with at the urgent care, along with just a lot of other general complaints. Local hospitals, they have put out reports saying that they are at max capacity of patients, whether it be due to staffing shortages or just patient loads or a combination of the two. They're at max capacity and they just don't have room for a lot of patients right now. And so our outpatient clinics, our urgent cares, our primary care offices are definitely seeing an influx in numbers due to this. So being that everybody seems to have a cough right now, whether it be due to COVID or flu or post-nasal drip, it can also be due to a asthma exacerbation. And I've actually seen this a few times in just the last few shifts that I've worked. And so I know that it's a very relevant topic right now, that being that there are so many respiratory illnesses going around. And we know that when patients that have asthma have respiratory infections, it tends to affect the respiratory tract, sometimes a little bit worse. And I can speak on that personally with my son having asthma, my older son. This topic is just personally very important to me. And so today I will be discussing managing asthma exacerbations. And the reason that I just said it is very important and relevant just because of how frequently we're seeing respiratory illnesses right now. But also, and this is going to be a big part of the discussion, is there's actually been a fundamental change in the recommendations for how we are to manage asthma exacerbations. And this huge change was presented by the Global Initiative for Asthma, also referred to as GINA, the acronym GINA. And they published this in 2019 and made huge changes to the recommendations. And so I'm going to discuss that today here as well, as it's a very important topic. And I would love to hear at the end of this discussion if you've seen these changes in your place of work, or if you've actually implemented these changes in your own practices. So definitely just leave a comment below. I'm interested to hear about it. And also don't forget to go ahead and show support to this channel by subscribing. I do appreciate all the positive feedback and support, you guys. It means a ton to me. So yeah, thank you as always. And without further delay, on to managing asthma exacerbations in the outpatient setting.
So real quick, just a little background on GINA, or the Global Initiative for Asthma. It was established by the World Health Organization and the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute. And it was established to help raise awareness, improve on asthma management, and to reduce asthma exacerbations. So the GINA Science Committee was established in 2002, and it was created to review and analyze published research regarding the management of asthma and asthma exacerbations. The committee is a collection of recognized experts in the field, and they meet twice a year along with the American Thoracic Society and the European Respiratory Society, and that's to review current literature and make evidence-based recommendations for the management of asthma. For example, in the last review they did in 2021, a total of 2,986 publications were screened, of which only 767 publications were found to have met the requirements for level and quality of evidence that they wanted. And that included 616 clinical trials and 151 meta-analysis. So it just goes to show how much research is really put into these studies. According to GINA, asthma is the most common chronic non-communicable disease, and it was reported to affect over 260 million individuals globally in the year of 2019. And 2019 was also the year that GINA made the groundbreaking change in recommendations for asthma management. And so we'll discuss those next. Inhaled short-acting beta agonists, or shortened as SABAs, have been the first-line treatment for asthma for 50 years, and therefore a change in this treatment is kind of a big deal. So GINA now recommends that inhaled corticosteroids should be included in both maintenance therapy and rescue therapy. And this is also referred to as the acronym MART, or M-A-R-T, for maintenance and rescue therapy. It's also been referred to as an anti-inflammatory rescue. So specifically, GINA recommends a combination of inhaled corticosteroids and formoterol, and this should be used in rescue therapy and for daily maintenance treatment. An example of a first-line rescue inhaler recommended by GINA is Budesonide, which is the inhaled corticosteroid combined with formoterol, and it's sold under the trade name of Symbicort. Research has shown that incorporating inhaled corticosteroids has helped to reduce exacerbations and morbidity and mortality related to asthma. There are, however, variations of inhaled corticosteroid dosing, and it's based on age and severity of symptoms, and we'll kind of dive into that a little bit further in these upcoming slides. For patients 12 years and older, the budesonide formoterol inhaler, or the Symbicort, is listed as first-line treatment for reliever therapy, and this is in comparison to the typical albuterol-only inhaler. I also included here the common dosages for the Symbicort inhaler, with the common adult dose being 160 micrograms of the inhaled corticosteroid and 4.5 micrograms of the formoterol. This graph here was taken directly from GINA's website. It's free and it's available to everyone, so you can go ahead and reference it there. It shows you the recommended step-up therapy for asthma management. It's just super useful and easy to follow. And also a quick little side note, because these inhalers do include obviously inhaled steroids, it's really important that we are educating our patients to rinse their mouth out thoroughly after each use to prevent oral thrush from occurring. Alright, so this slide here just shows different low, medium, and high doses of the inhaled corticosteroids. I just think this is really useful to kind of build familiarity with the names of the drugs and the dosages of the steroids. Also take note of the graph there at the bottom, the children age 6 to 11, and it shows you the inhaled corticosteroid dosing for that age range, as it is recommended by GINA that children 6 to 11 years old take a low-dose inhaled corticosteroid whenever a SABA is taken. So that's 2 inhalers. For example, my son, he has an albuterol inhaler and a beclomethasone inhaler that he uses when he needs it for symptom management. And in this next slide, I'll show you the step-up therapy for that age range. So here's that graph for children 6 to 11 years, the recommended step-up therapy from GINA. For children 5 years and younger, GINA recommends considering a specialist referral and maintains recommendation for a SABA only for the PRN rescue inhaler. So for that young age demographic, the recommendation did not change. They still recommend a SABA only rescue inhaler. But here's some information there, and it shows you again at the bottom the dosaging for the inhaled corticosteroids for that age group. Alright, so this last slide here, it discusses the management of asthma exacerbations in the outpatient setting. And I did talk about this briefly in one of my previous videos, but it was directly related to the pediatric population. So this is kind of more general, and like I said, this is taken from the GINA website. So they kind of give just a step-by-step when managing asthma exacerbations. So first, they say to assess the severity of the exacerbation while simultaneously starting a SABA and oxygen therapy if indicated. And while you're doing this, you're also checking if the patient is possibly going into anaphylactic shock. So you also can consider alternative causes for the respiratory distress, for example, heart failure, or if it's possible that the patient had a foreign body aspiration. And then immediately, you want to be arranging for a transfer to the emergency room if the patient is showing any signs of severe respiratory distress. And while awaiting for the ambulance to arrive, you want to immediately give that inhaled SABA and also inhaled ipratropium. You can do that with a duoneb, which is the 2 combined. Also oxygen therapy, and then systemic corticosteroids. Again, that's all while you're waiting for the ambulance to arrive and transfer them to the higher level of care. Say the patient is stable enough to be managed in the outpatient clinic, you're still going to start with treatment of repeated doses of the SABA and early oral corticosteroids and oxygen therapy, again, if it's indicated with the patients. And so there I included for you the dosages for the oral corticosteroids. So for adults, it's going to be the prednisolone 40 to 50 milligrams, and that's usually for 5 to 7 days. For children, of course, it's going to be weight-based, so it's 1 to 2 milligrams per kilogram a day, up to 40 milligrams a day, and it's usually for a 3 to 5 day course. And special note here is that tapering isn't going to be indicated in these patients because they're using the oral corticosteroids for less than 2 weeks of duration. And then, of course, you're going to be wanting to check the response of your patient and their symptoms after treatment, during treatment, and monitoring their oxygen saturation. And then, of course, if they are requiring oxygen therapy, then titrate it as needed. And the recommended target saturations that they provided were in between 93 to 95% in the adult and adolescent population, and in between 94 to 98% in children 6 to 12 years old. And of course, if you're requiring, oxygen at that level, these are the patients that you're waiting for the ambulance to arrive. Again, one more time, everything was found here at the GINA website, or the Global Initiative for Asthma, and I included that link for you there, so go ahead and check them out. Alright, so I think that's going to be it for today's discussion. Don't forget to let me know down below what you guys think in regards to this huge change in recommendations for asthma management. Are you seeing this in your place of work? Have you implemented this into your own practice? I really am interested in hearing more about it, so go ahead and let me know. And as always, I wish you guys the very best, and I'll talk to you soon.